Hello, everyone. Welcome to Beyond Life Paranormal Podcast. I'm your host, Russell Reynolds, and we're here on a special Sunday night edition. Before we introduce our guest, we're just going to plug a couple events for those who hadn't tuned in last night. Um, October 16th and 17th, this coming week, we will be at the Marshall Cinema Haunted House helping out. And Kim and the staff and the family, they put on a big haunted house. So come on out, show your support, get scared by us. Um, she does not charge. She does accept donations. Get yourself some popcorn. And I'm not telling you who I'm going to be. So you guys are just going to have to figure that out on your own. And keep in mind, it is also a haunted movie theater, so which was on Dead File. So let that work on your brain when you come in and get scared by us too. So um, another event we're going to talk about, Scarefest. This is the last time you will see Annabelle on the road. So make sure you get your tickets. I heard they were running low. So if you're wanting to see Annabelle, the Warren's Occult Museum, and the guys, make sure you get your tickets for that because she will not be on the road after that. So that is it for the Devils on the Run tour. And so make sure you get your tickets for that. I know Ryan Buell will be out there. I believe Father Bob will be out there. All the Nesper guys. So get your tickets for that. Come out and see Annabelle in the Warren's Occult Museum because this will be the last you see of it. As far as I know, it's going into a bigger museum as of next year. So another event we're going to be at will be in Sandusky, Ohio, December 6th. Come see us out there at Holiday Magic. Uh, I know Jen is still looking for vendors, so reach out to Jen Jacobs, Eclipse Paranormal. We are guest speakers out there, and we are leading the paranormal investigation afterwards. So, without further ado, we're going to introduce our guest and bring our guest on. Our guest tonight is a paranormal investigator. He's an author. I met him at Bordertown Paracon. He's a big supporter of my family too, the Warrens. He was supposed to be on last night, but you know how life is. But he's here with us tonight on a special Sunday night. And without further ado, we're going to bring him on. Please welcome my guest, Jason Walker. Hey, Jason,
Hey,
welcome to the show.
what's going on, everybody?
So
Hope
tell my
everybody.
audience a little bit about yourself and how you got started in the paranormal.
Yeah, for sure. So first, I hope everybody's having a good night. Like you said, I was supposed to be on last night, so I apologize to everybody who tuned in. Um, but we do a special thing on Sunday, so that's cool. Again, my name is Jason Walker. I'm the founder of Not Terry Collective. We are a paranormal team out of the Fort Smith, Arkansas area, and he did mention that I am an author. I have a book on Amazon, a couple actually, but the main one is The Gates of Hell and the Demons That Protect It. The 2003 incident. It's all based on a true story that happened. Some friends and myself in Oklahoma. So yeah, I grew up in Oklahoma. Um, it's right on the border where I grew up in Sallisaw, Oklahoma, to Arkansas. So we say we're out of Fort Smith, Arkansas area just because it's the biggest city, so people recognize it, and it helps us out some. But I did establish Not There Collective in 2018, and we've been going strong ever since then. And we've been lucky enough to investigate some of the most haunted places across the country. So, uh, we're really busy with that all the time. We're busy with residential cases, helping people out, and also, paracons and horror cons and things like that. We do a bunch of that stuff throughout the year. We still have a few more coming up for this year, even Comic Cons, so we're not restricted on what we do as far as that goes. We have a pretty good following, so most everywhere we go, people recognize us. Um, I do have a partner who does this with me. Her name's Rosie Page, and she's a very gifted medium. So it's pretty cool to have that on my team. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it is cool when we go into a place and she's picking up all these things and getting hit with all this energy and everything. But then I can validate things on our gear to back her up, which is it's really cool how that comes together sometimes.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what I like to do with mediums. I like to run equipment with it so we get validation. If they're feeling something or experiencing something, then we have the equipment to back it up and actual proof that they're a gifted medium and they're not a fake medium.
Right. Yeah. It is really cool. It seems like when we go to a location, like I said, she gets hit with all the spiritual activities. Everybody wants to talk at the same time, so it kind of overwhelms her sometimes, and it does drain her. The paranormal hangover is a real thing, so I mean, it's you never know. But she gets all that kind of stuff, and then I get the physical stuff, like more of the scratching and people, pulling my clothes or things thrown at me, that kind of thing. So I get that quite a bit actually. So
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's the same way for my dad and I as well. We both have that ability, and it just gets overwhelming at times, especially like that
it
border town there where we
yeah,
were at
yeah.
with all the
I
different
mean,
entities floating around in there, and
right. And that's it. That is the thing. When you come together at places like that, you never know what's going to come with people because you got people from all over the country coming to one event. So like you said, it gravitates that energy to one location at the same time. Sometimes it can be kind of crazy. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it was paranormal related, but the ceiling fell down. So,
oh yeah,
um,
that was crazy. I was actually talking to her mother for a minute, getting ready to pack up, and when it come down, I mean, I got hit with it too. It splashed me
yeah,
pretty good too.
yeah, that was crazy. It really was.
On top of the protesters we had outside.
Yeah, and and that is one thing. I've been to paranormal events all over the country, and you've had things people comment on online posts and things like that a lot. But it's kind of crazy that was the first location that I've been to that had protesters show up. They with their signs and telling us we're going to go to hell and all that stuff. I mean, usually it's just keyboard warriors doing their thing, but them
Yep.
to actually show up like that was interesting.
Yeah, we were supposed to have some at Rock Island last weekend, but we didn't. Ended up having, I think they counted over 2,500 people come in the door
Uh,
for
yeah,
that
that's
one.
pretty good.
Being the Warrens
Um,
Museum was out there and Annabelle and all that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's surprising that there wasn't more of a turnout for those kind of people, for the protesting people, with her being there for sure, especially with all the controversy about her going on the road all over the place and then things she's caused, supposedly, you know.
Yep.
But I mean, you know how that goes with that. So,
Oh yeah, and that's like I tell people, Annabelle's dangerous if you make her dangerous.
right. Yeah.
You challenge her, she's going to challenge back. But going to see her, you're perfectly safe. I mean, all the precautions they take with her, and I mean, at Rock Island, they had Father Bob with them, and there's Ryan
Yeah.
Mule actually posted a video of Father Bob blessing the museum before anybody ever walked in there.
Yeah, I actually watched that video. So that I mean that place is pretty well cleansed except for the objects themselves, but uh, you see how they're pretty well taken care of as far as being where people can't touch them and things like that. So
Yep, and
yeah,
they've got guards like crazy in there. They had about 6 or 7 people in that museum at a time, so making sure
oh,
nobody touches anything, and
yeah, I can imagine, but yeah, it's interesting too. Like I said, that that Paracon specifically, it was a smaller event, and it's in a real small place. That being where we were, it was just kind of surprising that you got that kind of reaction from people. And from what I understand, it was leading up to the event too. Apparently, I guess these people have been following around the people trying to put it on, and
yeah.
tearing down their signs and that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's what they were telling me. I told him, I said, "I
So,
can bring my objects out there." My dad
yeah.
and both told her that. We're like, "We'll bring our object out there and give it to them. They can play with that."
Yeah, another thing that's interesting is that most people, you know, to do what we do, we're at those events, and most of us are Christian people.
Yeah,
Um, you know, that's the crazy thing about it. It's just that you have some people that are closed-minded like that, and they just see like things that are one way or the other, and don't have room for anything else. Not one of those people ever came over there and tried to talk to us and see what our take on things are, and then you could ask them why they think the way they do, but none of them did that.
no. And to them, we're just spawns of Satan. We're out there doing the
Right.
devil's work, but meanwhile, we're out there helping spirits and crossing lost
Yeah.
spirits over and reuniting them.
Exactly, and then that's part of it, and part of helping people that are dealing with these things.
Yep,
Um, that's why there's two main things. There's one, you help people who are dealing with stuff they don't understand, and then maybe we can shed some light on it. And two, we try to capture evidence of something after we're gone. That's the whole point of capturing paranormal evidence.
yep,
Uh, that's what we do, and then you know people just not understanding that they just figure, like you just said, it's like, oh, we're all, devil worshipping witches or something. So, you
right.
know, uh, it's
Yeah,
kind of crazy.
it's just crazy. Let's talk about your book a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. Like I said too, I actually have a couple on they're out there on Amazon, but since this is a small one, I'll just show you this one real quick. But this is my children's book. So
Okay,
the little ghostly ghost. It's available on Amazon, and it's just a little story that rhymes. It introduces kids to what we do, just but in a like a pretty, you know, pretty innocent way. It's like almost like just a little bedtime story, just show you kind of what it looks like inside. But it's pretty neat, and it's got some pictures of Rosie and I doing our thing out in the field. Nothing too creepy. I included a couple different pictures of apparitions, but no big deal. Um, just something that interests kids, and it sells pretty good, so people like it. And then
yeah, that's
my
cool.
main book, uh, my main book is this one. This is the hardcover, so that's what that looks like, everybody. If you want to see pictures of it on Amazon, or you can even go to my personal page on Facebook and watch the book trailer to it. It's pretty cool. Um, there's two versions of that. So there's that hardcover, and then there's the paperback version. So
Okay,
um, it's a pretty intense story about like from this location of experience I experienced out there from when I was a little kid all the way out to being 21, 22 years old, doing stupid things with my friends out there, but he shouldn't be doing. But
right.
the stuff that we experienced just seared itself in my head. It was so crazy. I always wanted to write a book about it, but never did. I really didn't know where to start, honestly. But so I just started from the beginning, like from when I was a kid to when that happened to all the way till now. So it's all based on true events. The only things that are different in it is I changed the names of my friends in there, so for the privacy. The only the only people that's their name is me. I'm the only one that uses my own name. And I never say the name of the location, what it's actually called, because I don't want people out there messing around with it. So
Right. Yeah, that's
again,
my book
yeah, it
too.
takes yeah for sure. It takes place in Oklahoma. So there's the people that are again what we're talking about. There's some closed-minded people in Oklahoma being through the Bible Belt, and then there's open-minded people like us. So,
Yep. Yeah, I've done stuff in Oklahoma that them objects that I had at Border Town there, they were taken from a case in Oklahoma on
oh
the trail
really?
on the Trail of Tears.
Yeah, that's a pretty crazy location that goes all the way through the state there. But you never know what you're gonna find along that.
And supposedly the property, I don't know if you remember back in the 90s, there was 2 girls that went missing, and down in Oklahoma along the Trail of Tears, and the people thought they may be buried on that property somewhere in back pasture in the woods back there.
Oh wow, yeah, um, that's completely possible for sure. I mean, Oklahoma has its own crazy stuff going on as far as paranormal wise. I mean, um, so eastern and southeastern Oklahoma is all about Bigfoot. Um, all kinds of Bigfoot stuff going on there, and then it's this whole area where I live in eastern Oklahoma is kind of a UFO hotspot. And then like you were mentioning the Indian stuff like that is man, this is just all Indian land. So there's all kinds of crazy stuff involved in that sometimes. Um, I don't know, but I do know I could kind of tie that in a little bit to the Conjuring house. People were doing investigations there, but outside in the woods and hearing the Indian drumming and that kind of stuff. You know, a lot of that happens in Oklahoma too. People pick up on that and hear that in the woods sometimes. It's kind of weird, but yeah, you definitely don't want to, don't go exploring that. But
Right. That's even
it's just
Go ahead.
it goes from that kind of thing to Oklahoma having a bunch of unsolved murders as far as like a lot of people reference the Girl Scout murders that happened.
Mhm.
They were in a Girl Scout camp in the '70s, and there's a bunch of them got killed, but they never caught who did it. So um, that kind of creeps people out around here. But and then you got like more famous stuff like Oklahoma City and like the Zozo case, using
Mhm.
the Ouija board stuff. So that happened there. So it really runs the gambit of all kinds of paranormal stuff here in this state.
Oh yeah, definitely. We were down on it was Miami, Oklahoma.
Mm.
That's where we did that one residential case down there, and they were the only white family that owned the property around Native American land, and the
Wow.
Native Americans were trying to buy it from them, and they wouldn't sell it to them.
Well, that's interesting. I don't really know a whole lot about Miami, Oklahoma, but I do know this: it's got the world's largest McDonald's. I do know that. It's
Right.
weird. It's got this McDonald's that like goes over the interstate and like a sky bridge and all kinds of stuff. It's crazy.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that's their claim to fame, as far as anything cool. But yeah, the whole state is just like I said, riddled with all kinds of paranormal stuff. So it's really cool. And then being a centralized location for me, when I go do things around the country, it's just a good starting point. Rather than say I live like in, way South Texas or something like that. But
Mhm.
it does help where I live to explore other places. So,
Yeah, because you're right around that whole historical area with because you can jump over into Missouri and explore southern part of Missouri, which has got its connection with the Osage Indians all the way through there, and
right. It is interesting because the last time I was in Missouri, I was up around the St. Louis area, and if anybody doesn't know this, that's where the actual case for The Exorcist happened was in
yep,
St. Louis. So we went to the house where it was, and then unfortunately I didn't get to stop and explore the house or anything. When I went there, there was actually kids outside playing in the yard. They had a sprinkler and just like running through it, and then you wouldn't expect just the story itself to have a foundation in a neighborhood like that because
right,
it's a nice neighborhood. These houses are nice. They're old brick houses, and then like just how unexpected it is. Like when you drive down in there, like wow, this is it. This is crazy, man. I thought it'd be like in the ghetto somewhere, but nope, no, it's in this nice place. And then of course that the Exorcist case actually happened uh, a couple of different places throughout the city where they took the boy. That's another thing too. The original actual case was a boy, not a girl. So,
yep.
um, but Hollywood they changed things.
Oh
But
yeah,
of course, obviously for the Conjuring movies and Annabelle,
yep. They changed a lot of that.
yeah.
Even
But
I heard Last
speaking,
Right too.
yeah,
Same way.
yeah. Well, that's what I was just gonna say. I was actually really surprised that I liked the ending. I didn't think I was going to, and I don't want it to end. But because it's some of my favorite horror movies.
Yep. Well, I know they're supposed to do a. I heard a TV series to keep the Conjuring series going. They're going to be doing a TV series of it.
Yeah, actually, I read that they were going to do it through HBO. I
Yep.
guess, and that'd be really cool to see those cases continue like that. What they are they going to involve Ed and Lorraine? Are they going to change? Are they going to change the main characters like as the people, not the names obviously, but like different people playing them, or is it just going to be their cases? Who knows? But
Yeah, it's
uh,
hard to say. Well,
it is. Yeah, it's
that's like
interesting though. For
one
sure.
their one case, the Enfield poltergeist that they assisted on. If you watch that series that's on Tubi, you don't even see Ed and Lorraine, and it's all about Morris Gross, whose case
Yeah,
originally was, and
right. And he was interesting. He's an interesting character, as himself. Um, you know, apparently, I guess he was really kind of the first one that believed them that was happening, and that was kind of interesting. I haven't really dived too deep into his biography, but I want to, um, because I want to learn more about him. But yeah, just him being involved in that and really kind of trying to take it to the next step was cool.
yeah,
Um, but I'm really really happy when I watched that movie that they didn't kill off Ed because I thought that's what they were going to end up doing because they led up to that he was having heart problems
yeah,
in the last movie. So I thought, man, that's gonna suck. And then I'm so glad they didn't. But
yeah. That's a good thing.
yeah, I just wouldn't have liked it as much. That's one reason I didn't really want to watch it because I was like, man, they're gonna kill him off and stuff because and in reality, he did pass away, and then
Yep.
but I just didn't want to get some of my favorite characters, and I was like, man, I don't want them to kill him off. And I'm just glad they didn't do it. So,
Yeah, he was when he had that one heart attack there, it made him a vegetable in like 2001, and then he passed away in 2006.
right. Yeah, I'm just glad it didn't go that way in the films.
Yeah.
They kind of make it like where they get through all this stuff and they finally continue on as a couple. So
Yep. And
'cause, yeah, that's what you want to happen.
Lorraine did it all the way up till she couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, and that's sad. But like you just said, she was out there still doing talks and meeting people and
Yep.
stuff like that. And it was really cool that they involved her in the original movie that she was in it.
Yeah, Tony was actually her son-in-law. He was in it, but they never panned the camera. He was sitting next to Lorraine in the crowd there.
Oh,
They
really?
just never panned the camera onto him.
Wow.
But
That sucks.
behind the scenes stuff, he was sitting there with Lorraine.
Oh, wow. That's cool. Yeah, it's really neat because I'm friends with him, so keep up to what he's doing, and it's neat to see the progress. And it kind of sucks that he had to come out and explain why they sold the house and that kind of deal. But at least he said something because there's a lot of people saying a bunch of things about what was happening with that.
Yep. And I just saw some more video footage today. They took Lorraine's chicken coop and made it like a spiritual building, and they have a little angel statue with Dan Rivera's name on it in there, and
Oh wow,
it's
that's
amazing
cool.
the short amount of time they've had and all the work they have done in there.
Yeah, and that's one thing too. I'm sure the house itself needed work, because it's a pretty old house.
Yeah,
Um,
it was built, I think, in the 50s, I believe, early 50s.
oh wow. Do they still have that? Do they still have the gazebo there? Is it?
Yep,
That's good.
and
I don't. I
that's
don't
that's the gazebo you see in the Conjuring movie.
oh, they used the exact one.
They used the exact gazebo in Ed and Lorraine's yard for the Conjuring movie.
Oh wow, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yep, and it's still there. They got a fence leading up to it, so you can actually go and sit out at the gazebo still, just like Ed and Lorraine would have.
That's neat. I really like that. I like the tie in. I like the ties in to different things that you did. like Ed, being the singer, and then him, and then Patrick Wilson and singing Elvis song in the movie. That was pretty cool.
Yep, and Ed was quite the artist too.
Yeah, man. It's interesting because it was a couple years back. It might have been like 3 years or so back. I'm not really remember for sure, but I just so happened I was like, I'm gonna look and see if I can find any of his art. And somebody had a painting of his selling on eBay, and then I don't know what it ended up going for. It was more than what I could get, but um, I was like, man, it'd be really cool to have one of his paintings.
Oh yeah, and I know they still got a lot of them hanging in the museum, which will be going to that big commercial museum when they open it up.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. I really hope they like just showcase that kind of thing.
Yeah, they're supposed to. They're going to showcase everything of Ed and Lorraine's, and they actually did a little start of it at the Warren's Paracon the year before last. They when we were out there, they had a centerpiece all set up that had their table, and it had all their tools and everything that they used on cases, the old tape recorders and the old
Oh
Bible and
wow.
holy water, all their religious artifacts, and they had several of their clothes.
I see. I think it'd be really cool to sit in Ed's office, because I wanted to see all that. Hmm.
Yeah, I would love to go and sit in Ed's office and just sit there quietly and just listen,
Yeah,
just like
yeah. I think that'd be so cool.
especially all the case files they've got packed away in that office that they've done. And
Jeez.
I know there's
Yeah.
boxes of it.
Man, I can only imagine what's in there. It's
Yeah,
like
they
I just thought about that. One time I was just sitting there. How cool would it be just to go in his office and just sit there?
yeah,
That'd be kind of neat.
and I know they said they're finding like 50 years worth of stuff they're going through, categorizing it and boxing it up.
Wow.
When I talked to the
Yeah.
guys last weekend, they were telling me, Wade was telling me they've been going through stuff left and right, and it's kind of hard for those guys too. They open a drawer and they find all this stuff and they're looking at it, and it gets an emotional energy to them
Oh yeah. I
when they,
mean, for sure. Yeah.
especially Wade, because Wade Wade's a medium. He feels all that stuff. He's got abilities, and
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely hits them different. For sure.
yep, that and Ed and
Uh,
Lorraine saved his life from an issue
uh,
he had in his apartment. Ed and Lorraine came out and took care of it.
that's one thing. Something like that. You have all these things that they're known for, all their cases, but you got so many other events and stuff that they're involved in that nobody knows about. You know,
Yep.
you know. I mean, it's just can only imagine what that was really like. Because I'm sure there's so many things that wasn't on the mainstream that they did.
Yeah. I mean, you see it all the time online about them and this and that they were frauds. I've confronted a couple people. I'm like, "Were you there?" No, they didn't have the technology back then like we do now to actually post physical evidence. Second of all, client confidentiality. They're only allowed to put out what the client will let them put out.
Right. And but it's with anybody else. You look at the really big cases they were involved in, and that throws them in the limelight, and people are just like, of course they're going to be under scrutiny, but like, who are these people?
Yep.
And why are they here? But if you talk to the actual people that they were there to help, that they're involved in the real thing, of course, you're going to get a whole nother perspective. But it's not glamour and Hollywood and fame and all that stuff. But I mean, they were dealing with some serious stuff,
Oh
and
yeah.
not just like us when we go into a location. we never pretend that we know something about something we don't know. Like if it's above us, we'll recommend somebody else that can handle
Yep.
it.
Yep.
It's very unsafe for everybody involved to be playing with stuff like that. You don't understand it.
Yeah, exactly, and, even us, I mean, we've got demonologists on standby and clergy. If we need them, 'em, they're there,
Right. Yeah.
and
That's exactly right. Uh, I worked with someone too that's a demonologist, and but that's the thing that again, you don't ever want to pretend you know something about stuff you don't know. Going to make things worse. It could actually be a life and death situation at that point because not only for who you're trying to help, but yourself, and then demonic forces. People, whether you believe it or not, they're real. So
yep,
um, you can try to do all that. Stay here at this location, then you don't follow me home. Well, a demon, they're not gonna give a shit. So um, they're gonna, you don't mess with that kind of stuff, and then don't pretend you know how to get it to go away, or just because you want to get notoriety or something like that. So when people like Ed Lorraine go into those places and then determine that that's what they're dealing with, and still do it, that's the thing. It's like
right,
they're definitely smart enough people to realize that if this is not something we can handle, we're walking away and giving somebody else. But um, they tackled the issue, but to deal with it and to help people, but not to get famous.
right, and, I mean, that's like they all say, "Oh, they made these buttloads of money," Lorraine did off the Conjuring movie. She never did. Most of that money that they made went to her medical bills and
Yeah, and I can
fixes on the house and stuff.
right, and that's exactly right. If she's getting all this money, then all these repairs and stuff that needed to be done to her own place would have been done, and then she'd
Yeah,
have had like all this nice things or whatever like that. No,
yeah, it's just crazy, and, I mean, even us, we go out and we deal with demonic cases, and, we're a verification for, the diocese office in Springfield, and, but, I mean, they are real. They're rare, but they're real, and
yeah.
choose when they wanna come out. They can lay in dormant for years on end until they decide they wanna wreak havoc on somebody's life.
Yeah, exactly, and that is the case. Even when we're doing our talks and stuff with different paracons and things, we people always ask about demonic stuff because that's of course it's the movies and things like that. But what you just said is very very true. That demonic activity is very 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 rare. It's not like you go into every place and every place is a demon. Was there a spirit there that said that it was Satan? Yeah, possible. But the only reason they're doing that is to get you to leave. That's their space. They
Yep.
don't want you in it. They think you can scare you away. And if it's actually demonic, you're gonna know. You're
Oh, yeah,
gonna.
and
But it's rare.
I tell people, you can tell, like us, we're seasoned enough. When we walk in a house, you can feel that energy. You know when it's a regular spirit, when it's demonic.
Right, and it's very interesting that you just said that actually because um, the word you just used was season, and then that's exactly how we explain ourselves to people because we get labeled a lot as paranormal experts, and then there's no such thing as a paranormal expert. I don't
No,
care you're on TV, how long you've been doing it, it doesn't matter. There's
right,
no experts in the paranormal field whatsoever. We are continually learning things and adapting and uh, learn from other teams. And there's just there's never going to be an expert unless, there very seasoned and experienced investigators, absolutely. But uh, expert, no. And then when we're on TV or doing interviews for the news or whatever we're doing, and they want to put up that graphic that says panel
mhm,
experts, Jason Walker, no, or whatever, we will make it a point to have them change that to just paranormal investigator or whatever, something else, or season or experience, like I said,
right.
but never expert. And anything that's ever labeled like that in the magazine or whatever, for us, I will have them edit it out because you don't ever see that with us. And those are the reasons why. So, it's never going to be that way. even if you were able to talk to Ed and Lorraine right now, they'd say the same thing. I guarantee you they would. So, you
Yep.
know,
Like
and
I always
it's just,
say,
yeah. Yeah,
there's
yeah, it's just that way, and I'm happy. I'm happy you said that because that's most people. Most people, oh, you see, uh, uh, what's his face on TV, Zach Bagans or
yeah.
whoever, like, oh, he's an expert. He's a paranormal expert 'cause he's on TV. That makes no difference. You're on TV. We're friends with a lot of the guys that have TV shows, and they don't even consider themselves that way. But sometimes, for whatever reason, they can't help the network or whoever or whatever they're doing, call them a paranormal expert or
Mhm.
people seeing that just because they have a TV show. No, 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 they're doing the same thing we are. It's just, they're for one, they're getting paid a lot more money, that's for sure. But two, they're at a location for more than a night or so, like we are. Say like a week or two at a time, and they're filming all these things and editing it down to a show and make it look all those things are happening and it's exciting and all that stuff. And uh, which may be the case, those things may be happening, but it's not like they show it's happening. For the
Right.
most part, as you know, we're just sitting in the dark talking to ourselves. Man, there's nothing going on.
Right.
And that's really it. But people compare what we do to the TV shows because it's what they're seeing. And it's just not reality. I mean, again, like I said, those things are happening, sure, but they're also there for a long time filming these things, and then they condense it down to 30 minutes, an hour show. And then it's some of embellished. Maybe some people do that, but again, for the most part, it's really boring, and you're just talking to yourself in the dark. That's all it is, man.
Exactly. And there's a lot of times you sit there and you start nodding off because there's nothing going on, the room's quiet.
it's it's actually pretty funny because that's absolutely true. One of the most haunted places in the country is Waverly Hills.
Mhm.
And we were doing an investigation there, and we were watching these shadow figures, just going crazy. And then, man, the next thing I know is I fell asleep. So next thing I know, I wake up and everybody's gone, and I'm just sitting there waking up. I'm in this room in Waverly Hills by myself, and I'm like, where the hell did everybody go? But they just left me there because I was asleep. But if you can fall asleep in some of the most haunted places in the country like that, yeah, then you're really a paranormal investigator because that's what you're doing. You're you're not scared of it, and you're just sitting there. It's 4 in the morning, and then yeah, it's going to hit you like anybody else.
Yep. Yeah, we did, we were at Waverly, and we had some pretty good activity that night, but we had a thunderstorm come through, and,
Um,
I did a little bit of role playing on the 4th floor in the surgery room. I laid on the table,
oh
had a
yeah.
person with me wheel me under the light, and I played like I was sick and coughing, and he was yelling
Oh,
for a doctor. So we had a motion light sitting in the doorway, that kicked on. I heard a noise, and I went to sit up, and I couldn't move. I was, like, being pinned to
oh
the
wow.
I couldn't move my arms, my legs, nothing. And then we hear 2 loud female screams right outside the door in the hallway.
Jeez.
So we
Yeah.
had another team in the building with us, and I was like, "Text that other team, find out where they're at so we can make sure that it wasn't them." They were up on the 5th floor, the other side of the building out on the roof doing Estes.
Mm,
So they
yeah.
were near us.
That's what's cool about Waverly is what you just mentioned, man. It's so massive. You can do your own, your own, you know, investigation in some part of the building and not even know about anybody doing anything else somewhere
Mhm.
else because it's so massive a building. Um, I wish I was there during that thunderstorm because that'd be so cool having the energy. But the night we were there it was a full moon actually, so um, it was pretty cool. We got some good interaction. I was pretty happy with it. Got attacked by bats up on the roof. That was cool.
Oh, yeah.
you know,
1st
but
floor, we got bats.
yeah, yeah, those bats are cool. But one of the coolest thing is I saw what they call the creeper.
Yep.
Uh, that was really cool because we were in one room doing some stuff, and then he was standing across the hallway in the doorway of another room and it's just a tall shadow figure. But
Mhm.
it was pretty solid. It just looked like he was standing there staring at us. So I just took off out of the room, and Rosie's like, "What the hell are you doing?" Because I was going to see if I could get him, if I could get a picture. but by the time I was taking pictures, she was already gone. I never captured anything, but with my own eyes, I saw it, and it was really interesting. I was really excited.
I got to see him when we were there. We started off, you know where the sisters' room is, that the 2 sisters,
Yeah.
we started there, and the one person that was with me, she was smoking a cigarette before we started, so, I was just milling around there, and I was out on that catwalk, and here's the creeper creeping across the floor. He was crawling,
Oh wow.
and I called the one member over, and I was like, "Hey, keep the camera pointed down that way." I said, "You see it down there?" He saw it crawling across the floor, so I'm like, "I'm gonna head towards it, see if I can get a closer picture of it," and as fast as I got halfway down there, he went up over the side of the building down to the bottom floor.
Gee. It's man, it's so cool because you're saying, yeah, you were in the sisters' room, and what's interesting is that's exactly where we were. Rosie had her stuff on the bed, had a recorder right there in the spirit box, and I was
Mhm.
sitting over against the wall on the floor, and then that's when I saw it, and I took off on the other side of it and tried to get a picture, but I just jumped up and bolted and freaked her out. But I was like, man, I gotta get a picture. And then I tried to snap some, nothing came through. But um, down in the body shoot, we got all kinds of activity down there. Though, man, that was crazy.
Oh, yeah, the body shoot, we were down there, it was almost 3 in the morning we went down there, and, we went all the way to the bottom, and we were down there taking still photos, and this black mass filled the whole body shoot, and it kept working its way down towards us.
Oh wow,
We heard the gate up top move. Now that gate's rusted open, it don't move, and it sounded like it shut.
gee,
Yell up there, "Hello," nobody answered us, and we're like, "What is going on?" So we make our way back up, and, we head to the morgue, and the Waverly Hills Challenge, you have to lay in the on the morgue slab for 15 minutes. That's what our tour guide Vince told us. He's like, "Have your team stay out in the hallway, you go in there and you lay in there for 15 minutes." I was like, "Can I do 2 hours?" He's like, "Yeah, if you wanna do 2 hours." He's got a security camera that watches that to make
oh
sure
yeah,
you do it. So, most of everybody was climbing in feet first. I went in head first.
oh wow,
It was to the back of the refrigerator, and I had my millimeter sitting on my chest, and I had a K2 meter by my head and my recorder, and my team was asking questions out in the hallway. And we had a Boo Bear sitting on one of the embalming tables, and that Boo Bear was just chattering away. It was one of the talking ones,
oh yeah, yeah.
and it would just sit there and chatter away. The K2 above my head was going crazy. Now there's no electricity in that part for that K2 to be spiking, and the millimeter was going crazy on my chest. And when I reviewed the audio, I got an EVP that says he's dead.
Oh wow, that's
And
awesome. But yeah, you're right. Most everybody goes the opposite way when they lay in there. You know.
so I did it as realistic as possible to resemble if somebody was pushing an actual dead body in there.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Most nobody goes in there head first. That's crazy.
A- And did you guys get any activity around the round table on the first floor?
We went to it almost looked like a seance room. I can't think of
It's like a big lobby area down there.
yeah, there's a lobby area and there's a room off to that. And then there's like it has stuff on the floor, written on the floor or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, we were getting some crazy stuff in that area.
We did a with the other team. We all sat around the table and did a spirit box session, and we had a K2 meter, my mel meter with the REM pod. I had the REM pod active on it too, and then another K2, and we had a guy that was skeptic with
Oh
us.
nice.
We were letting him ask the questions, and I mean, this man was just cussing. And Vince gave us a heads up. He says, if you're offended by cuss words, then this is the guy you don't want to talk to." And Each time they would do it, the K2 would spike all the way around through the REM pod, the millimeter to the other K2, and it kept going back and forth and random.
Wow, that's
And
awesome.
it would cuss, and then the one girl, she asked a question. It said, "Shut up, you dumb bitch," to her. Then
It's,
one of my members asked, "Do you like Russell?" "No, he's an asshole."
yeah,
We start laughing because I get called an asshole pretty much on every investigation we do,
yep.
and
Yeah, that's exactly right, man. I get the same thing. Like the spirit box will say, they'll it'll like touch me like all the time, and then for whatever reason, they always say Rosie. They always say her name. They say her name all the time. They never like she never gets cussed though, like I do all the time. So it's crazy.
yep, I'll get cussed at. I'll get my name called. But that same night when we were doing that, we had something get thrown
Oh wow,
that sounded like a rock come flying into the room, and we ended up picking it up, the signature on thermal, but we never could find where the source, where it came from, and
that's crazy.
ended up
Uh,
getting a loud metallic bang that rattled the whole building.
oh wow,
Couldn't
yeah,
explain
but
that either.
the building itself is, man, it's a even if it wasn't haunted, it's a beautiful building. I mean, it's just massive. It's cool. And then just knowing its history and then all the people that's been there to investigate and then finally you get your turn to do it. It's kind of like it's kind of like us, really, in my opinion. It's kind of like us going to Disneyland. It'd be like it's finally we're here kind of deal, and we get
Right.
to do it. It's pretty awesome. I was very excited and I love being there. I'm gonna go back, so I'll go back eventually. But
Yeah, if you do, holler at us. I'd love to go back there and
yeah, for real, man. The building again, what we were talking about, is so massive. You could do your own stuff and won't contaminate anybody's evidence. So
yep.
uh, that's what's really cool about it.
I like
Um,
to do some more work at 502. We didn't get nothing up at 502 that night.
yeah, and that when we were up there too, we didn't either. We didn't, but there was a couple other people that did experience things up there when we. They were the only ones up there. Then when we were the only ones up there, we didn't get anything.
Yep, we tried the flashlight trick and everything with the motion lights, and we didn't get nothing to happen.
Yeah, and that is the case, because I mean, spirits work on their own time.
Yep,
You
work
can't
on
make them do anything. So yeah,
and
like people go provoking them and things like that. That doesn't help anything because they're still not going to do whatever.
yeah, they're just gonna look at you like you're an idiot.
There's, there's no, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's
And it is that way. It is that way because like these more famous locations, they're like that. Waverly or maybe, or the Elysian Boarding House or whatever it may be. It's like you're going to go in, and the spirits. I guarantee you, they're thinking the exact same thing every time. It's like, oh, here comes these fucking idiots again. It's like
yeah,
they're going to ask me to bang on a wall or do some kind of noise or it's like
right.
I'm sure they get sick of it. I guarantee you do. So we we try to ask different things that people won't. Like what's your favorite food? Do you like candy or
Mhm,
we bring stuff like that or depending on the location, it's like I'll bring a shot glass of whiskey. You know,
yep.
and those things help. It helps to open you up. So it's really cool.
Yeah, like Missouri State, we'll bring in contraband like cigarettes and stuff like that,
Yeah.
like you would have in prison.
Exactly. Exactly. But it's just I can just picture their face when the new paranormal people are coming up for that weekend or something. It's like, here's idiots again. It's like leave us alone.
Right.
But and then sometimes they'll be more active, like they do feel like talking to somebody. But that's just it. You got to go into these places and give them respect, and then just have a conversation. We're going in their territory, their house, and then you don't want somebody busting in your house till you knock on a wall.
Right. Well, that's like we were walking back on the 4th floor, and, we're walking down this hallway, and this figure, probably about 5 foot tall, comes running down the hallway at us and blows right in between two of us. It was enough. Our hair stood up and
Oh
all
wow.
thick, and you could feel that breeze come through. Then I looked back like, what the hell was that? Because it was so quick. We didn't even have a camera on, nothing, because we were
Yeah.
done for the night, and
Yeah.
the other team was coming in behind us. I said, "Did you see a figure run down that way?" They said, "No, we never saw it." So it disappeared before they even got into that hallway.
It, what's interesting about that is like what you just said about, you guys are packing up, getting ready to leave. And it's so funny. It's like, because those things happen a lot. It's like you won't experience anything. About the time you're trying to get out of there, something will happen,
Yeah.
You're like, damn it. you know, but
Well,
that's just
even
how,
clients' houses, I've learned when we're interviewing clients, I'll run a recorder because we catch most of our EVPs when we're just having a normal conversation with somebody.
yeah. Yeah, and that's exactly how it happens. It's exactly what we were doing when we were doing an investigation this past Friday. Um, we were trying to get them to interact with us, and we wouldn't get any activity. But as soon as we were having conversations between ourselves, like stuff would happen.
Yep.
You hear something like because they'd be like, "What? You're not paying attention to me now? Like you're just going to talk to yourself?" But when we are paying attention to them, they don't want to do anything. But when we're just having a conversation, that's when you hear that you hear a door shut or something. You're like, "Oh man, did you hear that?"
Right.
But yeah, that's what they do. It's so interesting they do it that way, but that's what happens.
Well, that's like Missouri State. When you go there, it's never the same thing. Every time you go, it's always something different.
Mm.
Happen-
Yeah,
The
well,
only
that place
thing
is
I
so
can say,
massive.
the same thing that happened to me was I ended up looked like someone had taken a cigarette and burned my arm. I had a bruise. First time I went was in here, and then the second one was here,
Yeah,
which was this past summer when we were there with Get Haunted.
that's crazy. But
And
yeah, you do get that sometimes.
and that place is it's good. The dungeon. I mean, I've been down in that dungeon quite a few times. First time we were there, I got a woman yelling hello down there in the dungeon. I had my camera rolling. I actually caught it on camera and my audio recorder.
Oh
And
wow.
we also heard it with our own ears.
Oh man, that's really cool. Yeah,
And I sent somebody to go check, make sure nobody was up in the upper cell block yelling down the stairs. I went up there and they verified there was nobody up there.
yeah. It's cool when they have enough energy to make it where you can hear it, audibly with your own ears and not through a device. So that's always exciting when you can pick up something like that. Um, you know, um, you can see it. I guess the comments and stuff. Does anybody have any like questions or anything or saying stuff?
Uh, Not yet. Nobody's posted any questions yet. Carol Garcia said about the protesters, they would learn so much if they would just ask questions.
Yeah, and that's absolutely true. Yeah, but they don't want to. They just want to be on their little world over there and holler at people.
Yeah,
But
well,
you know,
that's like our Mormon massacre site here at Hans Mill that we investigate. We had one guy, he was going to come down and give us the history. He knows what we do. Then he comes out and says, I don't want your equipment down here. I don't want cameras down here. I was like, told the guy, I said, we have permission from the Mormon church to be there to investigate. Plus, it's a public area, it's a historical site. So
yeah,
I said, numerous kids have been down here playing with Ouija boards down here.
yeah, yeah. They can't stop you at a public place like that.
Nope. So, I mean, anytime we've been down there, there's been law enforcement's come down and they run my plate. They say see who it is, and they're like, all right. They'll go on their way. I know
Yeah,
who you are. You're good.
yeah. I mean, because you're not causing any issues, so yeah, that kind of thing. Especially if you already have permission too. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yep. And even the
Yeah.
property, the surrounding property, I know the guy who owns all that surrounding property around Hans Mill, and he gave me permission to even go on his property and investigate.
Oh wow, that's
Uh,
interesting.
we got your first question. What is the
Oh,
most memorable case?
hmm. Well, let's see here. Um, there's a couple that come to mind. One, I mean, just to throw this out there first, but this location right here about the where the book's about, that's a really intense place, and it's very scary stuff. I wouldn't recommend going out there by yourself. But other than that, I mean, there was we were doing an investigation at the Broken Bow Asylum in Broken Bow, Oklahoma, and we had things, we had activity that were whatever was there was throwing stuff, but it was throwing it at me. So like Rosie, she got pretty overwhelmed with all kinds of whatever was attacking her emotionally. But we were doing this one room, and a really big piece of glass came flying through it and hit me in the shoulder. And then, I mean, it was throwing really hard. It hit me, and then it's on the floor. And I was like, God, like, what the hell was that? So I'm looking down, and there's this big piece of glass right by my foot. And I'm just thinking, man, it's like that could hit me in the face. It was just like, I mean, it was complete darkness, and that could have hit me in the face. I would have never saw it coming. But again, that was what you were mentioning earlier too. Is like that was one of those instances where we weren't filming, and that kind of sucks because I would have loved to capture that on camera.
Right.
But we were trying to figure out where it came from and what happened. But I mean, it just literally kind of came out of nowhere and hit me around the shoulder. But there was another one. We were at the haunted Hill House in Mineral, Texas,
Okay.
and
Yep.
they say that they say there's a demon there. Um, I don't know for sure, but there is definitely something there. There's a lot of activity for sure. I know that. Um, it was myself, Rosie, and we were doing an investigation. Also included Natalie Jones, and we were in this one room. We called the Axe Room. We got some cool EVPs in there, and then we were doing another part of the house, and then we hear somebody hollering. And we're like trying to figure out what was going on, and everybody's kind of rushed outside in the back door, and somebody got bit. And then uh, when we put the flashlight on this girl's arm, you can actually see the bite marks forming as we were looking at it.
Oh wow.
And and to me, that's demonic activity. And did I have the personal experience with the demon? No, but I was there when it happened. So, and I saw it. So, I mean, that was I saw the bite marks forming as we were there. So in real time, it was so crazy. Um, and then we were doing something with Brian Murray and Russell Stratton. They did, Andy's Ghost Hunters. They were on there, and we're doing the same place. And then we got some interesting activity upstairs in that same building with what was supposedly a demon, but we got some great evidence with the Estes method we were using there at the time, and then but I don't think I ever experienced anything demonic there, but that was a very intense situation when that was happening. Um, I can't say it personally happened to me, which would have been I would have been pretty excited if it did, but stuff like that doesn't bother me. But obviously, again, it's something you don't want to toy with.
Right.
But something was there, and I know mostly spirits themselves don't go around biting people. So,
Jeanette asks, "What's something you still want to do?"
um, man, I mean, evolving my book again. I don't keep saying that, but I am in talks with a movie director right now for it. So, that could potentially be turned into a movie. So I'm excited about that. We're just waiting to see when he finishes it, what he thinks for it. You know, and then we're waiting on that. I want to go back to some places I've already been across the country, and then some places I haven't. Like I'd really love to get into Alcatraz.
Oh
That'd be
yeah.
amazing. know.
That's on my bucket
Um,
list too, also Alcatraz.
right, and I've been there. It's just I haven't got to do the paranormal investigation there, and I'd really love to have it. I know I probably would never get it for a weekend unless I was with a network or something like that, but um, just a night would be. I'm sure we could get something if we just had it for a night, but.
Oh, yeah.
And there are places across the country I still want to go for sure, but that is right there at the top. Waverly, I'll go back there anytime. So I'm looking forward to that, and maybe like the White House, the St. Augustine. I really want to go there too.
Yep.
Um, now we have grown so much. We have a really big following on TikTok. Anybody can look that up. Night Terror Collective. We're in Facebook. Night Terror Collective, same name. Instagram, I don't put much stuff on there, but my personal page I do sometimes. So Jason Walker, but um, and that allows us to do other things. It gives us more opportunity the more we grow, and then we're at all kinds of events all the time. So that's something that helps. And then our reputation is something I'm really prideful in, as far as like our we built up a great reputation between people in the field. So when somebody else that knows us talks about us, I'm happy to know it's probably going to be positive. So.
Mhm.
Um, we we we've worked so hard to build our reputation and credibility, and that's actually something I'm very proud of. So I don't think anybody's going to badmouth this for any reason, but no, we wouldn't on anybody else. But the thing is, I love to get that feedback
Mhm.
and see what people say about you know us and everybody else. Um, but it does definitely keep us busy for sure, especially in October. So.
Oh, yeah. Carol wants to know, what's your favorite piece of equipment?
Um, hmm. Well, it's very interesting because we have the same gear you see everybody use on TV, um, and that's only one because it's cool, it's neat, and of course I want to use it for sure. But it makes you more recognizable when you're using gear that you're seeing that people are out there watching TV shows, see them use too. It's like, oh man, I've seen that on TV. That's cool. You got one of those. It is. The Obvious is a good device. The SLS camera for sure. But when it really comes down to it, and it's great to have that gear for sure. And it's expensive to have all of it, but what I tell people mostly is just use your phone and a flashlight. And I've
Mm,
gotten so much stuff just using those things right there. I mean, I've caught in Class A EVPs on my phone to pictures of apparitions using my phone.
yep.
Um, Man, it's I've been so lucky was just using that, but um, you can see our evidence if you look at it on TikTok or I'm not posting it on my page or whatever, but just the pictures I've gotten. That's why I tell people to take lots of pictures wherever you're at,
Yep.
and you don't have to have a fancy camera. Just use your phone. Especially phones nowadays, the cameras on them are just crazy insane. They're really good. Um, so that's all you need. And then my partner really kind of dumps it down sometimes, and she uses dowsing rods a lot. So
Mhm.
we don't have to use our gear. Sometimes we don't at all, but depending on the location. But it is really cool to have. But again, like I said, probably my phone and a flashlight would be the main thing there. Because not only that, it's like, what if you're at a place and all you have is your phone sometimes, and then you get an opportunity to walk to a building or something like that, and you have your phone, man, it's so good.
Carol asks, is the children's book a ghost story or does it help children with abilities?
That's an interesting question, but it is just it is a ghost story. Like I said, it's a little ghost story that rhymes. It's just this ghost befriends a group of kids, and they have this little adventure. Um, and then, like I said, it's just pictures after that. So it's just pictures. And I didn't want to put words with those pictures because kids don't care about what it says. They just want to look at the pictures. So um, if anybody that's me in front of the Haunted Hill House and looks like the stone lines in Oklahoma. There's Rosie when we were doing something at Waverly. Huh. But it's I included, like I said, too, a couple of apparitions. That's not too scary. I'll show you a picture of that real quick so you kind of see that it's not really too intense. But this is a picture of apparition that I captured at Judge Parker's courthouse. And if you know anything about that, it used to be Fort Smith. There was an actual fort there. So that is soldier. That was kind of hard to see, but it's a soldier on the grounds of the fort. His courthouse is there, and this was the apparition I captured at where my book takes place. I don't know if you can see it, but kind of got a
Okay, yeah.
circle right there. Yeah. Huh. So a lot of people say that there's a witch that's out there where my book takes place. I don't know. I didn't really experience anything like that. But then there's a picture of all of our gear and things. So and there's all kinds of stuff. We got all kinds of stuff. But you want to, just use your phone and the flashlight. It's perfectly fine. So and it's awesome.
Jeanette asked, have you ever been to Mansfield Reformatory?
um, no, I don't think so. I don't think that's somewhere we made it. I don't know exactly where that's at. I don't think. Um, so yeah, if you can let me know that, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that's in Ohio. That's where the Shawshank
Oh,
Redemption was filmed.
okay, definitely seen the movie. I've
Yep,
seen
that's
the
where that
movie.
was filmed in Mansfield.
Okay, yeah, for sure. That would be pretty awesome if we got a chance to do something like that. Um, I wouldn't turn it down. There's a lot of
Oh
places
yeah.
I don't turn down. Mhm.
Carol said I captured a full body of a shadow person wearing a bowler hat in St. Augustine outside the Fountain of Youth.
Mm, that's very interesting. Not only St. Augustine, but when you start talking about shadow people wearing hats, most
Yep.
everybody refers me
And
to the Hat Man. The Hat Man is somebody that is an intense figure. He appears to people in different ways sometimes, but he's usually always wearing a hat. But whether he has glowing eyes or not, or whatever, I've never seen him, but I've talked to a lot of people that have experiences with the Hat Man.
yeah, they always interpret Hat Man as not being a very good spirit.
Right?
And then
Yeah.
you have the cloaked shadow figure also that's got the hooded cloak on, and that one's got red eyes.
Mm.
Is another
Yeah.
one people see.
When we do paranormal investigations a lot at residential places, obviously, but at the same time, we're not putting ourselves in situations where we're going to look for things like that. I
Yep,
mean, we're not like I'm going to go encounter the Hat Man or whatever. It's like we're not setting out to look for something. If that's something we run into during an investigation, okay, we will deal with it. But I don't set myself out to go look for a demon or a Hat Man or anything like that. That's something you don't want to do. Again, I'm not Zach Bagans. I'm not. I don't. We don't get possessed every location we go to. So um, and it's sad. It is sad that way because that's what it comes across. That what happens to everybody, and that does what we do. And that's absolutely not true at all. And then we got to fight with that for us versus TV people, and what's what. And it kind of sucks because Ghost Adventures itself, back in the day, was actually reputable. It was they're the ones that really kind of brought paranormal investigation to the mainstream, and I've always gave them credit for that. But and when they start doing all these things and getting all this crazy stuff happen all the time, you got to ask yourself, like, I've been doing this for a long time myself. Well, I'm not experiencing those things. Like, how come? Well, it's because they're embellishing it. It's entertainment. They have
yep,
to make a TV show and they have to keep it going. They got to get people watching. Is some of the evidence real? There's some evidence that is real. They're not faking it. But that was the big fallout between him and Nick. Nick got it's like I'm going to be a part of this, and then he left.
yep.
You know, and then he does his own thing, and then I'm friends with Nick and Tessa, um, and they're really great people, and they do real stuff to help people. And then Tessa being the medium, she does
Hmm.
a lot of good work too. But I was proud of him when he stepped away from that and didn't want to be a part of it. But
Yeah, me too.
um,
I mean,
that kept on, and he's getting possessed and demonic and all this stuff all the time, and then it's just insane because it's not it at all. So what we did.
and then he wonders why he's got all these medical issues.
Yeah, I mean that is part of it. You open yourself up to that all the time for sure. But at the same time, we know for a fact that he's not getting possessed every time he goes somewhere. That's not what happens. Um, I give him credit for doing what they did to start with, and then really kind of bringing the conversation forefront on TV, and we're watching it. It's cool. His museum out in Vegas, I've been there, and it's actually really intense, and it's really crazy the stuff that's in that museum. But man, other than that, I can't watch Ghost Adventures no more, and it kind of sucks because, like I said, that's what started everybody else really,
Yeah,
um, and then they've been around for so long that people watch it and think that that's what happens, and it's not at all what happens.
not
So
the case. And I mean, that's like when Tony brought Annabelle out there. He tells Zach, "Do not touch Annabelle."
yeah,
Soon he turns his head for 1 second. There's Zach touching.
yeah, yeah,
And
that was a whole messed up deal, with that. Hmm.
that's one doll I wouldn't want to touch.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely not.
I've seen how when Dan moved her, how shaky and scared he was after he handled that doll.
Yeah, man, I can only imagine. Uh, it's insane. I want to meet Annabelle more than anything because it's on top of my list. I'd really love to meet Annabelle. Would I ever touch her? Absolutely not.
Yep, and I mean, like I said, she's only dangerous if you make her. If you challenge her, she will challenge back. You open that case and start messing with her,
Yeah,
she's going to. Or if you stare her in the eyes, she will connect to you.
right.
And
That's,
I mean, especially there were special needs kids last weekend that wanted to see Annabelle, and that made their day to get to see Annabelle and actually get talked to Nesper, get autographs, and they came down to us to see. And they didn't realize there was the actual family of the Warrens there at that Paracon. They come down, he got a picture with us, and that just made his day. And
yeah, it is awesome.
he got an autograph, his shirt signed by us also. And his mom's like, "You just made his day, thank you." So, and then we had another one that was the highlight of his weekend too. He got to see Annabelle and got to meet us and talk with us and Nesper and those guys, and it was a great
That's
feeling.
awesome. Yeah, for sure.
And I said that's what
Yeah,
makes it worthwhile. What we do is see people like that happy and making their day.
right.
And the cool thing
That's
about that
awesome.
marathon, there was no drama.
Yeah, see, when you get through something like that, there's no drama. That's awesome.
Yep, everybody came together as a community, and for the people that
Yeah.
came
And unfortunately, we deal with that quite a bit in the paranormal field, drama and people being jealous of where you're at, where they're not at, But anybody can get there, It's like
in, yeah, you put the
it's
work.
people exactly. Everybody, you got to start somewhere. But the thing about it is people come to see us at all these different events that we're at, and they want pictures and autographs and stuff. Yeah, that's awesome, but you have another team that's jealous of that. It's like, man, you can do the same thing. It's just, you
Exactly.
know, you just got to do it. You got to put the work in and stop being jealous of other people and drop the drama BS.
Yep.
Um,
Make your
you
own
know,
legacy.
exactly. That's exactly
Do it
right.
the right way.
Well, I don't have a TV show, but one day, well, that could absolutely happen. But,
Right.
um, we're just going to keep doing the same stuff. So it really doesn't
Yeah.
matter. But, who knows? But, uh,
Jeanette
you
had
have another
another
one?
question. Have you ever used a Polaroid camera to take pics? I have. I recommend it. Some of the best pictures I've got, but thanks to moving, they disappeared.
Yeah, my partner, she does that. She usually she utilizes Polaroid, Um, we have some old school cassette recorders that we use. Um, man, like some of the best evidence that you can capture on those things because usually when recording somewhere in that open area, just I don't know, but it hits different to me, something like that rather than a digital
Right.
recorder. Um, and it's just cool. I mean, because looking back in the day, it's what they used, and then way before that, they used the reels, and
Mhm.
then you can capture just as cool as evidence like on those things back in the day as you can now with our technology we have now, or vice versa. Um, it really doesn't matter. But the Polaroids, yeah, I mean that's pretty cool. Those pictures, they just come across different. When you're waiting for them to develop and something's there. I mean, that's insane.
Yep. Jeanette also asked, "Have you been scratched?"
Yeah, yeah. I've been scratched to all kinds of places we've been to. Um, And a lot of times I get my shirt pulled a lot for whatever reason, but um, so yeah, I have been scratched. I have never been bit or anything like I witnessed there, But yeah, a lot of this for whatever reason they want to pull my stuff.
Oh, before I forget, my dad's watching. He wanted me to say hello to you.
Hey, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging in there and listening to my BS.
But yeah,
uh,
it
awesome.
was a pretty good. Rock Island Paracon was pretty good.
Yeah, that's awesome that you can do an event like that and it goes smooth.
And then the place that it was in is haunted. And with us down in the basement's the most haunted part of that building.
Uh,
So we had a guy sitting behind us that makes REM pods. He makes them out of stuffed
mm,
animals, and
mm.
they were just all day. They were just setting off, and he thought it was
Oh
us setting.
wow.
I'm like, no, us setting them up. And
Shoot.
I said, "This, you're down in the most haunted spot. Plus, we're right below the Warrens Occult Museum."
Yeah, yeah, that's probably gonna have something to do with it.
I said, "Annabelle's just directly right above us." So,
Shoot.
and they had the baboon head there, the conjuring mirror.
Oh wow,
They had the satanic idol there.
that's crazy.
I didn't I didn't bring mine in. I left mine in the car because I didn't wanna wake nothing up.
Yeah,
So I left mine
I
out
yeah.
there. They got
Jeez.
sent off to the Warrens Occult Museum after the Paracon, so they took it back to Connecticut with them.
Oh wow, yeah, that's cool.
So it'll be in the museum along with my haunted dolls that are in there
Yeah,
that my dad and I got.
yeah. I don't know. I don't like the dolls.
Yeah, those ones I had, they were bad news. I mean, they would turn
But
their heads at the cameras and grin and
yeah, I don't know about all that.
mock
But
people.
I got I guess while I'm thinking about it, I got a couple things. We have a big fundraiser next weekend. We're doing. Um, for my guy. He makes some movies, and then we're there doing a fundraiser for his film, and then we're gonna do an investigation. It's in Berryville, Arkansas, and then we have a big Comic Con we're going to be part of next month, and some other investigations, residential stuff. But um, as far as that goes, like I said, if anybody hasn't didn't follow us, you should look up Night Terror Collective on TikTok, Facebook, and almost everybody's on TikTok nowadays. But
Oh, yeah.
um, watch our videos, follow us, and do all that stuff. And we got some cool stuff on there. So,
Seems like the DJs and the paranormal investigators are taking over TikTok
right? I'm here for it. I hope so. But
because I'm also on TikTok as well too. So,
oh yeah, cool. Yeah, for sure, man. Make sure I think you're following us already. But
yep.
yeah.
Yeah, I've already hit my 10K following, so I can't follow anybody anymore.
Oh, good, good. That's awesome.
But I
But
still got room for followers. I'm up to I think it's like 5,000 and some, almost 6,000.
Oh wow, that's pretty good. Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I think we're getting close to 12, 13, or something like that. I don't remember exactly. 12,000, 13. I don't know. But yeah, and then also our Facebook and all that stuff, whatever we got following us on there. But I do have something, man. My battery's about to die, so if, I don't know how long we have.
Yeah, we can go as long as you want. I there's
Uh,
nobody on after me, so I just do it on my own pages. So since I'm not on a network anymore, so
okay, well I can continue to talk real quick, but let me grab a charger.
okay.
Looks like I'm going to need that.
Yeah. Give me a jacket. It was messed up for his collection. He made video for it. Oh, cool. Isn't
Okay, maybe I won't die now.
it?
But, let me show you something here. I was doing an investigation at the King Opera House in Van Buren, Arkansas, just using my phone. This is the reason I wanted to show you this. I captured this apparition.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was on the stage, and then you see my uh, SLS camera sitting right there. But I was just on the stage snapping pictures back out into where the audience would be, and that's what I captured. The original picture's in color, but then I turned it black and white so that would show up, and then
Mhm.
it showed up really good. Yeah, so that's one of our pictures that we have at our event, so we can sign it for people. But yeah, man, I was lucky enough to capture that, and it was really really awesome. It's like, man, I was so glad that came through.
Yeah, that
But
is
again,
an awesome
yeah,
catch.
just use your phone. Yeah, just on my phone.
Well, that's like at Missouri State when Nesper did the Devils on the Run tour there last summer, and they had the movie Annabelle doll from Annabelle Comes Home sitting in the actual Annabelle chair, and
Really?
I took a selfie with it. And when you look, see the hand reaching out above,
Oh yeah,
trying to
that's
grab it.
crazy.
Now, when I took the first picture of her by herself, you see the arm is up and the fist is clenched. And then when I took that one, it's out like that.
That is crazy. That's creepy.
Which picture, Carol? Jason's or mine? And yeah, and that was taken with my phone. And
That's awesome.
that whole night was just crazy. When we were on rotation, we were doing Estes method with Dan Rivera down in the dungeon, and we were getting the objects upstairs were coming through, and they were calling Dan's name, then cell number 20. And so after it was over and we went on free roam, we went back down there and did our own Estes in the same cell down there to see if we could pick up the same thing. Now, all the items were gone out of there by that time, and we didn't use the spirit box. We just used our abilities, put the noise canceling headphones on so you couldn't hear nobody, and they would ask questions. And I picked up on cell number 20 again. I said cell 20. Then I talked about JB the firebug, housed in there for 18 years, went blind, accused of arson, and he was housed in the dungeon because he set the prison on fire, killing several inmates and guards.
Damn.
And so I got talking to Wade later on the next day, and I said, "Yeah, I was getting cell number 20." He says, "Oh, you were?" I said, "Yeah, Dan was getting it earlier that night too." And he says, "Well, we were storing our stuff in cell number 20, and there's a spirit of a man there, and he was not happy that our stuff was in his cell."
Wow.
And so went down to the dungeon where it was quiet to get away from everybody.
Man, that's crazy. But I tell you something that's interesting is that using how effective using the Estes method is. Um, is something that's kind of a staple of what Rosie and I do. Like everybody kind of can't, they anticipate us doing that everywhere we go, and then it's very interesting the stuff that she gets come through that
Mm,
wants to talk to her, and there's people when you have to explain how that works, and it makes sense to people, because when you're just watching somebody do it, you don't know what's going on, but when you explain to somebody that's never watched how that works, and then you're asking whatever question, and this person's got noise canceling headphones, listen to a spirit box, and blindfolded on top of that. Um, and then able to answer the questions that you're asking. They have no clue what you're saying. It's just amazing how that happens sometimes.
Carol asked for both pictures, your picture and then mine for your apparition one.
Oh, she wants to see it again.
She wanted to know where that was captured at.
Oh, that is the King Opera House in Van Buren, Arkansas. It's an old theater, um, which is still in operation. They do plays and stuff there all the time, but it's pretty cool because we came in after this building has never been open to paranormal investigation because the people who owned it were against it and they were just closed-minded people. So they sold the building, and as soon as they did, and then like as soon as I heard they sold the building, I sent Rosie there to talk to them, and then she kind of used her little charm to persuade them to let us do a paranormal investigation there. But afterwards, there's been so many people do investigations in this building. Um, it's just crazy the amount of people wanted to get in there and investigate. And there's
Right.
a show, um, there's a show called Ghost Files. That's big on YouTube, and they're out of California,
Okay.
and they came and did a show there just because based on the evidence that I captured.
Oh, no.
Um, So you can actually find that on YouTube. I believe it's their latest episode. So this is the one they just posted, and I did share it on my page, on my personal page. So you can go check that out and see what they come up with. But uh, I'm in that show. I'm in there about I guess about 20 minutes into the show. I'm in there, but they came and did a show there just because basically of my evidence, which is really cool.
Awesome. And Carol, mine was taken at Missouri State Penitentiary at the Get Haunted Devils on the Run tour when they had some of the Warrens occult items out there. They had the Annabelle movie doll, the Annabelle chair. They had the Devil Made Me Do It dinosaur out there, the Halloween mask, the demonic skull. the devil's sword. They had the shadow doll and the fire doll out there, and they had the flight airplane door. I think it's the 74, not 747. It's one of the flights. They ended up with the door for the museum. They had that out there, and several haunted dolls and a children's coffin and stuff like that. So it kicked up some energy in that prison.
Yeah,
And my
I can imagine that those objects did nothing but help stir up the energy. Yeah.
oh yeah,
Um,
especially they had them in cell house 4, which is one of the oldest cell houses for that prison.
Man, I've heard stories about that place just by itself, so I can imagine bringing that stuff in there.
Oh,
I can just amp that up.
the last time we were there this summer, we were in Death Row with Bill Bryan from Empty Casket Paranormal, and we split up. I took my dad, my friend Ashley, and my friend Linda with me, and then Bill took the other ones with them. And we went on the other side of Death Row, and I walked in the cell and I laid down in one of the bunks, and you could feel the energy is like, "Hey, you don't belong in that bunk." And we got
Yeah,
walking. They started walking through the one door. Well, Ashley gets touched on top of the head and then the arm. So I come shortly behind her, and I feel something that felt like cobweb on my arm.
yeah,
So immediately I'm got my light. I'm looking for cobwebs. I didn't find nothing. So I talked to Sheila, who's the head one there, and she says I had inmates in there and cleaned that cell house. So there's no cobwebs.
yeah. It's very interesting because, which I know I've said that a lot tonight, but the same thing about it is when you experience the same kind of thing other paranormal investigators are experiencing across the country, wherever they're at, but it's explained the same way. Like, because people always ask, and we get this a lot, what's it feel like when a ghost touch you? It's like the perfect example of that I always say, which is what it feels like to me, is like it feels like you run into a spider web
Yep.
and then there's no spider web. So,
Yeah.
but that's that's how I always describe it. It's how I know I'm being touched because I can feel that, and I feel like I run into it or it's on my arm or whatever. That's exactly what it feels like. And then when you can get validation, kind of what you're saying, which I haven't mentioned at all, prior to this that um, you're describing the same thing, and that's just it's interesting because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, even down in the dungeon, we were down there. There's a whole group of us with Rob from Get Haunted and Brian, who wrote the book These Walls Still Talk, and his daughter was down there with us, and she was filming, and they had a dead bell in the in your face cell. When you're in that cell, the shadow figures are just directly in your face in that
Hmm.
cell. So nobody wanted to go do an EVP session solo in there. So Rob asked me, he says, "You want to do it? Will you do it?" I says, "Yeah, I'll do it. I've been here before, so this place is nothing new to me." So we ended up getting 2 possible EVPs, me doing a solo, and Brian's daughter filmed it. I haven't heard anything what she captured on audio, but she was just out filming the event. She actually wasn't filming for Paranormal Activity.
Hmm.
So we walked back out after the EVP session. We decided to go complete darkness to watch for shadow figures. And Brian's standing in the corner, and I'm directly across from him. His daughter's standing next to him, and she's hanging on to him. Well, I see this black figure stop right in front of us, and she gets her leg grabbed.
Oh,
And
man.
I said to her, I says, "You'll be alright, just calm down, there's a shadow figure directly right in between us." And she was
Yeah.
freaking out, and all of a sudden, it looked like someone had lit a flashlight right behind Brian and his daughter, and it lit up the whole cell block that we could see everybody that was in our group, and we thought maybe Brian lit a flashlight, and he didn't. He was hugging his daughter, and his daughter was hugging him, and it
Yeah, that's just it. Sometimes you get involved in it, whether you want to be or not.
and again, we didn't have a camera rolling at that time when they
Yeah,
did that because we were lights out, because
yeah,
she
that's
had
right.
a red light on her camera, and so I gave her a little pointer, I said, "Switch over to infrared." So, when we do something like that again, you can have your camera rolling and the infrared light will pick it up.
Right. Yeah.
But that place is amazing, and now that they opened up a couple new sections that you can get into now, you can get into one of the old guards' offices, and in the lobby, there's a room that you can get into now that they opened the cell door up when they had to shut down 3 about a year ago because they tore the building down behind it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're starting to tear some of the buildings down, and they still got the other building's still up yet. I don't know if they're gonna tear that one down or not yet. I hope they fix it up and let us in there.
Yeah. Yeah. But just maintain that history.
Yep.
Um,
They
but
tore the
it is kind of. Oh yeah.
Yeah, the chapel's gone. Well, they had a tornado several years ago go through there, and it ripped the roof off the floor,
Mm,
destroyed the chapel, and
yeah.
but
I do know, like when we go to like old tuberculosis places, and you go to the sanitarium, where not necessarily Waverly, but just somewhere.
mhm.
Um, we do that. We do that shadow watching, man. You sit on one end of the hallway, and like you said, you go dark, and you just look down there and you watch all these. You can still moving. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cell House 4 is good for that because I mean, it goes all the way up. I mean, you got, like, 5 floors of cells.
Yeah.
So Bill builds equipment, and, he built this big laser grid, and that thing shined the whole cell block, and, we would just sit in the chairs there and just watch the shadows coming in and out of the cells.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. In a place like that too, man. It's not just about that, but like you're sitting there in the dark and the noises and stuff you hear too. It's just kind of
Oh, yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the first time we were there, we were up in Solitary where they had James Earl Ray and, Pretty Boy Floyd and all that. We were up on, like, one catwalk walking, and you can hear all the cell doors slamming,
Mm,
and
that's
we're
awesome.
staring at them, and all the cell doors are wide open,
That's
and
crazy, man.
most of them are all electric doors like Alcatraz is and stuff,
Yeah,
and
it's fun. It is. It's just that energy, and that's what you pick up on. You hear
yep,
it.
and then
You
you
know?
hear all the conversation going on, and then we
Can't even
did
imagine.
female wing, we did a first EVP session, and another lady was on necrophonic, and the first EVP, when we were off at another part of the picking up the same thing than the necrophonic was, and there was a woman, she was having an affair with a guard, and the guard threatened that if she said anything, he would make it bad for her, she would have a terrible accident.
Huh.
Well, she ended up getting pregnant by this guard, and she threw herself over the rail down to the floor and killed herself.
Dang.
And 3D down there where they house the criminally insane inmates, we were down there with Next of Kin Paranormal, and we were doing Human Pendulum, and there was a woman down there that recognized me from being there the year before,
Yep.
and she wanted to talk to me. And then after I got
Oh,
done talking to her, they took a picture, and one lady was standing in front of the cell. And they asked if they could take a picture with her, and one was using dowsing rods, and it went to yes, and they took a picture, and she showed up inside the cell in the picture.
oh wow, that's awesome.
And we kept
But
seeing shadow keep peeking around the corner of the door at us.
yeah, yeah, they do that a lot. But that's the thing though. It's like there are spirits that aren't just ridiculous, but like that, like they understand what's happening. Like she recognized you. So
Yep.
that means like it's an intelligent spirit. So um, that's so awesome when we get that happen. It's like sometimes when we go back to repeat locations. That's not necessarily myself, but Rosie will get like where they'll want to talk to her because they've talked to her before, and they'll mention things that they discussed. So I mean, it's like they know. I
Yep.
mean, they're aware. So I mean, it's very interesting that they are like that. Of course, not every spirit's like that, but and then you did mention Pretty Boy Floyd, and it's interesting because he's from here, like where I'm at. Like
Yep.
he's buried in Aiken Cemetery, which is right north of Sallisaw, where I grew up. So he was around here all the time, and then he robbed a bank there in Sallisaw and stuff. So,
Mm.
but yeah, all that gang activity, all the way from him to Al Capone being in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Because they hung
Yep.
out there all the time.
And he did a lot here in Missouri too. He would rent I think it's the Elms Hotel. He would rent the whole top floor out. Al
Yep,
Capone would, and then he owned a hotel here in Imperial, Missouri. He owned
I
a
didn't
hotel.
know that.
Yeah, it's actually for sale. It used to be a bed and breakfast, and it was for sale. And this was going back when it was up for sale, probably about 5 years ago now, maybe.
That'd be really cool.
And then we did
Uh,
another location involving Pretty Boy Floyd, a hotel in Rockport, Missouri that he stayed at because the owner of the hotel was running a mob speakeasy out of the basement of it.
oh, really?
And he bootleg liquor from his liquor store and he had a tunnel under the road that went right into the basement of the hotel from his liquor store.
That's awesome.
And we found his moonshine stash.
There
We
was still
found
some there.
Oh yeah, there was still a bunch of it there. And it got watered down quite a bit because we took a lighter to see how strong it was, and it wouldn't even light
Yeah.
anymore.
Uh, take just take a swig.
No, I didn't dare. Them jar lids were all rusted, and
Oh,
but it was a guy by
uh,
the name of George Opp that owned it, and it was called the Opp Hotel. And
wow.
there's been like 3 hotels on this property. They all burned down. The Opp Hotel, part of it burnt, caught on fire because he had a machine shop out back, and it caught the hotel on fire.
Oh, wow.
He managed to save that, but the last 2 that were there, they didn't survive. They burnt right to the ground, and a fireman got killed there. He was battling the fire up on the roof, got overcame with smoke, and thought he was jumping down to the next level. Well, he ended up going through the skylight
Oh,
right
wow.
down to the bottom, and a piece of glass come flying down and pierced him right through his coat, right into his heart.
Dang.
But that place was pretty interesting. My dad and rest of my team decided one night they were going to go to a hotel and sleep. We're like, "Nah, we're going to stay here." She had a little storefront, had a couch and a chair. We're like, "We're going to stay here tonight."
There you go.
And we left the cameras running all night, and about 3 o'clock in the morning, the generator kicks off, it goes pitch black.
Oh,
And I was like, hell with it. I'm not putting gas in it. I'm tired, so I'm just gonna.
yeah.
So I'm laying on the couch. My dad's in the chair. My dad says, "Hey, you awake?" I said, "Barely." He says, "Look in the doorway." So I look up, and here's this big 6'5" shadow figure staring at us.
That's awesome. Mhm.
Didn't do nothing, just sat there and stared.
Yeah.
He
Yeah. For the most part, they're harmless for the most part, you know?
I think it might have been the former owner because he was a big 6'5" German bulky guy. He used to wrestle.
Oh,
So we think he knew he had guests in the hotel, so he was checking on his guests.
it definitely could have been. Yeah.
And we were there. We went back again the second time, and my dad was sitting there watching the cameras. And you know how Missouri weather is. It's hot as hell, and it was hot. Walk in that room where he's sitting watching the cameras, and you could see your breath. It
Oh,
was so
wow.
in there, and he was freezing. So I had to tell whatever it was to get away from him, and
Yep.
we had to put blankets on him, a heat lamp to warm him up, and
And
we went back again. Just went up there to investigate, and a bunch of kids had broken in there and vandalized the place.
uh,
And so we were just about 9 o'clock standing there talking to the owner in the lobby. My dad grabs the bell and he rings it, and this big old white glow goes around him that we couldn't explain what was going on. And then later that night, tried to do it again, ring the bell. I was yelling for service, and we hear footsteps up above us
oh,
upstairs,
that's cool.
and that's where the library is. And so we're in the back of the library. I decide to go towards the back by myself and just separate from my members a little bit. And as I walk back there, I heard this loud metallic clank, and I react to it. I was filming on my phone. I was live actually on TikTok, and couldn't explain it. Went over and ended up finding the source to recreate it, and I actually caught it on video.
Oh, really?
What the hell? No. Something obviously didn't like me coming back here. Is this, how in the hell would that do that? It's like something lifted it up. Went like that. And that was it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that would take quite a bit of energy for it to do that.
Yeah.
Man, that's cool. I definitely wanted you to either get out or get your attention, one or the other.
Yep. And we've heard the piano play there at night, and the piano's broken. It doesn't even play.
Wow, that's awesome.
So we decided one night we were going to set up in the ballroom and just start playing some 1920s and 30s music, like a
Yep.
old time ball going on. And I had my red headlamp on, and it kept turning on and off. Somebody kept playing with it, and then we had we decided to shut the music off, sit quiet, and we had sound activated lights out, and the lights kept going on and off.
That's cool.
And
Well,
yeah, it's a pretty active place. It was built in the 1800s, and then the new one, the Op Hotel, was built in like the 1920s, right around when the peak of the mob. And supposedly there
mm,
is a body buried in the wall because they found an old broken shovel, kind of like what the mob would leave if you spoke. This what will happen to you.
Yeah.
And with him
Wow.
renting the speakeasy in the basement, he was accused of it. He went to court for it, but they didn't have no evidence to convict him that he was actually running an illegal speakeasy in his basement. And
No, but he was.
he was accused of bootlegging liquor. There was no proof of that because the bootleg truck he had supposedly is buried under the foundation of that hotel.
Really? That'd be very interesting if that's true.
And the place is now it's condemned because the roof was falling in. Even when we were there, it's black mold everywhere. We
Mhm.
tried to lady didn't want to sink no money into it. We tried to help her out and repair it. We were gonna fix it up for her, and she was gonna sell it to us. And then we're like, no, we don't want this money pit in our names because the city didn't care for her anyway. So
Yeah.
we didn't want the city coming down on us. We have this condemned, rundown place in our name that needed a lot of work, and it you basically needed a dumpster pretty much. The amount of junk that was in that place because he used to let people store their stuff if they were losing their farms. He would so
Um,
they wouldn't foreclose. When they foreclosed, they wouldn't take all their belongings. He would rent them a space in that hotel to store their stuff. So the whole upstairs is just packed full of stuff.
wow.
But all the
Yeah,
record books, the previous owner took them. That had all the registers of people that stayed there.
aw. Huh.
Because Theodore Roosevelt supposedly stayed there also
Really?
when he gave his speech in Rockport at the old high school.
They stayed there. That'd be really cool.
He supposedly stayed at that hotel as well.
Now, where are you at from like uh from there? From like, do you know where Jesse James is from?
Oh yeah, Kearney. Yep,
Yeah.
I'm
I
about
didn't know.
about an hour from Kearney.
I didn't know if you knew where he was from or not.
I've actually been to his farmhouse, his boyhood home.
They still have it. I didn't know if they did.
Oh yeah, they you can actually go and take a tour there. They don't allow paranormal investigating in there. I've tried. The one lady doesn't believe in it.
Oh yeah.
The head lady, but they have the museum and everything out there. It's got Jesse's boots and guns in there.
And that's where he's from, but not where he got killed, right?
No, he got killed in St. Joe, Missouri.
Okay.
Yep. He that's where his house the house is that he was shot in. But he haunts the boyhood home
Hmm.
cuz
And
I
that was in. What did you say? That was in Candy, right? Or
it's in
Carney?
Kearney, Missouri,
Hmm.
which we're
That's
getting ready to do a location on the 25th that has ties to Jesse James.
really.
My I'm related to the people that own the property, and his great grandparents used to hide Jesse and his crew when they would come riding through to go to Kearney. They would hide him out in the barn and feed him.
Wow.
And I'm
So he
actually,
done a.
what was that?
I was gonna say that he did a lot of stuff down through here. They stayed
Mm-hmm.
at what they call Robbers Cave in Wilburton. That was
Yep.
a big hideout for or not gangsters, but like outlaws and stuff. And then he'd ride up like right through like where I'm at, like right up to going back to Missouri and stuff. So,
And then I'm not too far from one of the banks that he robbed in Gallatin, Missouri. That's the one where they got ambushed,
oh really?
and a couple of his crew got shot. And about maybe 10 miles from my house is the one cave that he used to hide out in when they robbed that bank in Gallatin. That's where they hid out.
Wow. So you're like right there, right in the middle of all of it.
Oh, yeah. And then we have the Hans Mill massacre site, which was the big Mormon battles,
Yeah, I think I remember something about that.
and right where we're going the 25th is also where the Battle of Crooked River happened, the other Mormon battle. And I got looking at the date of that one, and we're actually going on the anniversary of the battle.
Oh, well, that's cool.
So we'll be out there on the anniversary. So,
I wonder if you'll be able to tap into anything.
oh, we probably will. I mean, we've investigated this place before, and we've heard all kinds of gunfire out there at night. You just random, you hear a gunshot go off, and one time we were out there, we heard a cannon,
Oh wow.
and
Well,
I asked my cousin Brad, I'm like, "Is this common?" He says, "Yeah, this happens all hours of the night. It starts
oh
from like
wow.
10 o'clock at night on."
So it's just a bunch of residual
Yep.
war fighting going on.
Yep.
That's cool. They said it happens a lot at Gettysburg, like when you go up there and you hear the
Mhm.
battle.
Yeah, we did during the
Mm.
day when we were there for the Warren's Paracon. We were up on Little Round Top. Heard a cannon go off and seen smoke rolling up over the trees just below Devil's Den.
Oh wow.
And I've got audio where I was live on Facebook, and you can actually hear behind me talking. You can hear horses' hooves galloping, and then
That's
you'll
awesome.
hear boots marching along with me when I walk Devil's Den.
Man, man, there's so much activity that goes on out there. Um, Again, like I said, it's just they're reliving that over and over and over every day. So whether you're there or not, so it's just that's crazy.
And then the bloody field, I was live on Facebook there, and one of my viewers actually saw a figure pop up.
Like behind you, or
No, it was out in front. I never did see it until they time stamped it for me, and I went back and reviewed it. And sure enough, this Chinese man pops up in Chinese armor.
really? Huh.
My friend Carol's the one that spotted it, and it's just there for a second and gone.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And the weird, it was solid too. You can't see through it.
Man, I wonder how that it's one of those things you think about is how those things happen like that, because most of the time when you're looking at apparitions or whatever they're doing their thing, they're still kind of transparent. So to be uh, completely solid figure, I would imagine would be a lot of energy for one, and
Yep.
two, like how does that work if it's just a residual thing? I mean, like it's just if it's something that's happening over and over and over again, how is it so uh how is it so intense? Like how is it able to do that if it's
Yeah.
not gathering energy? Is the energy that was there at the time that that happened so strong that it's just there? It's just with them at all times. I mean, it's again, that's one of those things that something like that we can't explain, which is again why we do what we do. But
Yep.
um, how do you differentiate that between the spirits that are just basically what the picture I showed you to a solid figure? It looks like it's right there real time. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting. And then like even on Little Round Top, I stepped over the rocks a little bit and looked down over the hill, and I see this looking out at me between that rock formation, and it was a Civil War soldier in a gray uniform. Just he just looked at me and was like, kind of had like that expression, like "oh shit, he seen me" type of
Yeah.
look, like he thought I was the
So
enemy, getting ready to fire at him.
that's man, that's crazy because so again, a place like that, you wouldn't think that it would be intelligent responses. It would just be residual, reliving the same thing over and over. So something like that, is it already predetermined that it's going to pop out like that at the rocks, or was it actually reacting to you being there? You know, that that's crazy. Was it already going to do that whether you were there or not? I mean, that's the thing.
right? And meanwhile, that's right where that one general statue was standing up on the rocks with the
Oh
binocular,
yeah.
the eye of General Warren.
Hmm.
And Jeanette said it's funny talking to old soldiers trying to explain I'm a female soldier. They don't understand that. I explained to them I'm a branch of the army. After a bit, they understand. They talk to me. It's really neat.
Yeah, I mean, it would be absolutely right because there was no women soldiers. You know, women had a role in helping out, sure, like being at the hospitals or wherever the makeshift hospitals were or something maybe. But
Yep.
yeah, I think that would be a foreign concept to them. A woman in the military. You'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? But but it goes along with when we're trying to explain to spirits how to use our equipment to
Yep.
communicate with us. It's the same thing because not everybody was that died was in the year 2000 whatever. So that it's going to know what a phone is or what's an EVP or whatever. They don't know. So you have to kind of coach them through it like a little kid to understand how to communicate. One of our biggest tools that we use right now is we have one of those tripwires,
Yep.
and to me, I find that to be one of the easiest things to interact with spirits because all you got to do is get them to touch the light, and they can see it, you know.
Yep.
But the same thing with the RIM pod. I mean, that's another easy piece of equipment you can explain how it works to them. But if you just touch this antenna or around it, man, we know you're there. Um, but the tripwire is pretty cool because it covers such a long area of space. So they see all that light up and they know, oh, I could touch this light and it's gonna,
Right.
oh, they know, But to explain it, I can just imagine on the other side their reaction, like, what the hell? Like, how's this? What is this? When you're talking to somebody who died in 18 whatever, or um, somebody brought up a good point, which is something that's never really talked about. But you talk about like, yeah, how do you get spirits to communicate with you? But what
Mhm.
if you're dealing with a spirit that's older, that's older than that? Say you're dealing with somebody that, for whatever reason, just say you're communicating with somebody who's like back in like Neanderthal or caveman time, right? Of
Right.
course, there's no technology in it then, but um, and it comes through. They're communicating with you to a spirit box or whatever, but it comes through as grunts or growls or something like that because there was no language. So, but you're thinking, uh, oh, it's demonic or whatever. It's a demon, and all they're doing is grunting. Or so, well, what if that's all they can do? Um, and it doesn't mean it's demonic, but you're talking about these older spirits because most people associate spirit activity with spirits that were around in the 17, 1800s. But that's if that's the case, then obviously there's older spirits too. So and not only that, but we come across a lot of stuff that you can't differentiate between different language, like. You come across Indian spirits and Native Americans to Mexicans, anything like that. So it's not going to always be English. That's the thing. So it
Right.
might come back foreign, and you're like, "What the hell is that?" But it doesn't mean they're not trying to communicate with you. It's just a different language, which you got to, you know, completely understand that because again, not everybody speaks English, so um,
Right.
you're going to come across that at some point. So yeah, it doesn't mean it's crazy, but um, you know, are there most communication with spirits? Like I said, in the year 18, 1900s and stuff like that, we associate with it more than somebody that passed away in I don't know 2010 or whatever. Yeah, we communicate with them too. It's just that for the most part, when we're in these older buildings or not even that, but land itself. You're not talking to somebody from 2010, and that's why if anybody ever asks, why do spirits always like seem like they're from the 1800s or whatever? It's like because that's where we're at. That's where we go to those locations.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I would imagine if we went somewhere, it's like it's even more ancient than that. Say like we were at the I don't know the Great Wall of China or something like that. What are we going to communicate there? But um, the old Roman Colosseum or something like that. Say we're doing an investigation there. It's not going to be, somebody from 1790 or whatever. So
Well, that's like my
um,
buddy Robert Murphy. He makes REM pods, but he makes the old style kerosene lantern REM pods. So it's something they're familiar with that they can
yeah,
interact with.
and that's actually a really good idea because yeah, again, that would be something they recognize, and that I could imagine that being that helpful a
Yep.
lot. I get that, and that's pretty cool that somebody would come up with an idea to do that.
Yep. Exactly. I mean, they, people see these coffin music boxes. Them ghosts are gonna look at that like, what? What is that?
Yeah, exactly. And then it's cool because we do have one of those, and it's triggered and it plays a song. And it's "Don't Fear the Reaper." It's our song that we have on that. But that's pretty cool. But when you're somewhere at 3 o'clock in the morning and all of a sudden that thing goes off in the middle of a hallway somewhere, you're like, "Oh shit!" Because it's kind of a creepy song,
Yep.
So
Yeah,
it is kind of.
I saw one at the Warrens Paracon. Somebody made one 3D printed Freddy Krueger, and it plays
Oh,
Nightmare on Elm Street.
oh, that'd be creepy.
Yeah, the little girls and uh,
I was singing the song, the 1 2 Freddy's Coming For You song.
yep, yep,
Oh yeah, that's. I don't know if I wanted to hear that at 3 o'clock in the morning, but
yeah.
so yeah,
Liano had it on his table, and he was showing me some of that stuff, and because he runs the Ghost Hunter store,
mm,
and
yeah. I bought something from them. I don't remember what it was though. The Ghost Hunter store.
but
Um,
uh,
I
where
use
they get
I use those. What is this? Oh, I use those, and I bought stuff on Ghost Stock. I don't know if you
mm,
ever done that, but
yep.
yeah, it is expensive though. It really is.
Well, Dave used to run that. I don't know if you remember that website back in the day called Shadowlands that
That sounds good.
had every haunted location in every state and for the United States and
Um,
the country. That's where everybody would go look up haunted locations and
That's a very good idea. I've talked with somebody once who said that they were trying to put together sort of like that, like a database of all these haunted locations per state and stuff.
mhm,
But I would imagine that would be really difficult to do for one, and then two, try to get people to participate in something where they're not getting anything for free. That's kind of hard too.
yeah,
So
Dave Giuliano's the one that did the Shadowlands website.
that's awesome. I think there needs to be something like that. I mean, it'd be really helpful. It'd be really cool. Talking about technology, but it'd be really cool if there was an app
Yeah,
that you could do that, and then like somewhere you could check in, like you could check into whatever the location would be,
mhm,
or you say you have like bucket list places you want to go, and then you just look on that, and as you go, you can be like, you checked in there,
right.
whatever. Well, it would be an app that did that, and then that'd be pretty easy for everybody to follow, you know. But I don't know. I don't know how to make an app, but that would be a pretty good idea.
Yeah, and even the tripwire, like you were talking about, we've used them, and like the orphanage at Gettysburg, we had it sitting in the one room, and the tour guide was talking about the head mistress of the orphanage, and that tripwire was just going nuts as she was mentioning her and talking about the history about her and how she was not very nice to the kids, and then
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome.
Had it in another event in Warrensburg at the courthouse. We had it strung across the hallway where the judge is said to go between the two rooms back and forth, and
Mm,
nobody was up there. We had a DVR camera on it, and the tour guide of the historical society, they were given all the history before we did our introductions, and as she was talking, the tripwire was going nuts. The judge was pacing back and forth because the judge was shot and killed there,
yeah.
and that night was pretty crazy. We did Estes methods both at the same time, but in different buildings.
Mm, yeah.
Both Estes was saying the exact same thing, and later that night, we were upstairs in the one room that the judge is supposed to go in, so we did a spirit box session, then we shut the spirit box down. We were gonna do the knock once for yes, twice for no. So I asked, "If you understand me, can you knock once for yes?" And it lifted up the back end of a chair that this girl was sitting in with her in it and
That's
slammed it on
awesome.
the floor, and I was like, and it happened on cue. So that kinda I was like, "Something's going on here. I'm gonna try to debunk this because they don't work on cue," and I had several witnesses said she had not moved, and it startled her.
I imagine. But
Now
you're right. Like some of those things, they do that though. They like sometimes you will ask a question and then you get an immediate answer, and then it's
yep,
but yeah, not every time, obviously, but sometimes it does work out that way. And then pick up the chair. That's a pretty good indication that like, hey, like okay, I'm responding to y'all, but I'm gonna respond like in a way that's gonna get your attention for sure.
yep.
Um, and,
That must
and
have used up all his energy because he never did
yeah,
respond to that.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, that would take an enormous amount of energy. And then when I'm at a location, I even did this last Friday at an investigation. But if I feel comfortable enough to what's happening and what kind of spirits we're dealing with, I will offer my energy to them so they can use it. I
Mhm.
don't suggest that unless you are really
Yeah,
comfortable doing it. It does it absolutely does drain you if they decide to take it.
mhm,
But again, too, it's one of those things that um, you have to offer it. You have to, they won't just take your energy. But if you offer it, they're gonna be like, well, like hell yeah, that's like taking a free energy drink. You know, like most people aren't gonna turn it down. So um, yeah, but you got to be willing to deal with it afterwards because it will drain you. It really does.
oh, yeah, I mean, it even with the darker stuff too, like Lorraine Warren
Yeah,
says, it takes a piece out of you, and it does.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
drained
Well, I can.
2 weeks straight.
I've never I've never dealt with the stuff that they dealt with, but I can only imagine what kind of what it's done to them, in the past. But Um, it's not something I do all the time, but again, I have to be able to determine uh, kind of how that night's going and what's
Mhm,
happening. But sometimes I can change things and you get more activity that way. Um, but if you feel comfortable within yourself, you can offer that, and that um, if anything else, it's just to see if they'll continue doing stuff or maybe even start stuff like, okay, I'm drained, but I need energy. You offer yours, they take it. Maybe you'll get, uh, a couple of knocks or something somewhere. But
right.
um, it is that way. Um, so you really don't know what's going to happen, but you take a
Right.
chance.
That's why I use an EM pump. I'll bring an EM pump with me so they can draw off of
Yeah,
that.
and you know, uh, that being said, they do, man. They'll if they take that, they'll take your EM pump, they'll take your battery life out of your gear, and then
Yep.
um, you walk in with all your stuff all the way charged, and they're just like it just feeds them. They're like And the crazy thing about that is they may draw all of your energy out of stuff and still not do anything. But
Yep.
you know, that's very frustrating because you go in there with fresh batteries and stuff, and then they're dead within a couple of minutes. That's
Oh,
crazy.
yeah.
But it does happen. That's what they do. Or they learn the trick of by dealing with enough people that if we drain their equipment, they can't do anything. Yeah, so
Yep. I had
but little do they know, we'll revert back to doing the basic things. We'll use the flashlight stuff. We'll use
mhm,
the dowsing rods and things like that. So
yep.
uh, we don't need the technology. It's cool to have, but we don't need it to communicate. So
Well, that's like the one case we went to involving this little 6-year-old girl. She had infant syndrome. She was shocked as an infant, had brain surgery.
mm,
Well, they had called us in because they were concerned stuff was going on. The house used to be an old doctor's office, so people have died in there. And so we went there to interview, and I brought my millimeter with REM pod, and I had them both on, sitting on the table. We were sitting in the living room. My dad and I were both just getting headaches. And the brother was playing with a Ouija board in the basement.
mm,
She had Ouija boards throughout the whole living room. There was a bullet hole through her door, blood all over the shade in the kitchen from it being the doctor's office. Well, this little girl comes out, eyes are as black as coal,
mm,
and walks up to my dad, looks him square in the eyes, and says, "You died and came back. They know who you are." And then
mm,
she come up to me, looked me in the eyes, and it felt like someone just took their fist and drove it between my eye sockets.
jeez. Mm,
And she set the REM pod off in the millimeter. The REM pod went up to like 139. The temperature went up to over 150 degrees. REM pod went off, and then the whole meter just shut right down.
jeez.
And it just totally drained that battery in it. Well,
Yep.
she was sitting there on the floor playing with the toys, and we were just kind of monitoring her, watching her. And something was influencing her. She was throwing her toys. "Oh, I don't want it there." And she was talking to something, and then she goes, "He don't want it there." We're like, "Who don't want it there?" He says, "The dark man." And then her eyes just turned black again.
I was
But
like, yeah, you need Jesus. Oh,
her-
still.
the father, he didn't believe. He was a non-believer, so they
Hmm.
never did call us to come back in and help.
Wow.
I reached out to I know the little girl's grandma. I reached out to her, and I was like, your granddaughter needs some help."
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That's like,
you need to get somebody in
I
there.
mean, you can't make people seek treatment or help, but at the same time, like something like that, it's like how is that going to progress? I mean, like that's going to be. I mean, that's something that needs to be taken care of like quick. You know. Um, and the parents don't want anything to do with it as far as getting help spiritually. um I don't know how I don't even know how you would live with that because like look, obviously this isn't right, so you
Yeah,
need there needs to be a priest come in or somebody that can deal with this. And then but I would highly recommend you get help. And then there's like, yeah, no, we don't want it, we're good. But it's like your daughter has black eyes. That's not
yeah.
no.
I I've tried to explain it. The stepmother was all for it, but he wasn't. So
Wow. Well, I mean, that opens up other things too. It's like, if he doesn't want help, then what does he know that he's not telling you? Or
right.
what is he doing? What is he inviting in and then conjuring up? I
And
mean,
he's also
crazy.
military. He was just deployed not too long ago, so we tried to see if we can get back in there with the stepmom while he was deployed, and we never heard back from him.
Wow. Well, I hope they ended up getting help somewhere. But you know, at the same time, it's like, man, that's dangerous because that's just gonna put you,
Yep,
the whole family in some kind of something they don't want to be in. Um,
yep, and the
but
town
again,
they live in too has got a lot of bad history too. Town has been cursed by a gypsy,
man,
buried in the cemetery there. The Head Start is an old, mental hospital that's turned into a
uh,
school.
yeah, there's probably all kinds of energy in that town that's
Yep,
been dark energy that's been invited in. You know, that's hard to get rid of. But um, man, I hate to think about what's going to happen if they don't get help. But you know,
yep,
next thing you know, she burns down the house and kills everybody in it or something.
yep,
You know, don't know where it's going to lead. But again, it's what can you do if the parents are like, yeah, we don't want your help, and it's like, but this is something that needs to be addressed. I mean, like pretty quick,
yep,
or I hate to see what's going to happen. And that kind of sad, but at the same time, again, that goes back to like, there's definitely something. If he doesn't want to help, there's a reason. Like why you're not letting us help your daughter? That's kind of weird. But
yep.
because you know something, or you're doing something, or you're playing with stuff you shouldn't be,
Yeah,
and this is what happens.
he is, and then with the brother, he's playing with stuff downstairs, so
Right. Yeah, man, that's definitely not normal. And it's not normal to not want to help your kid either. So
yeah,
you think you want to do anything that you could. Um, it goes back to like The Exorcist. It's like
mhm,
Reagan was possessed, and her mom was exhausting every option she could to try to get her help, and then um, that's ultimately what they did. But it's at the same time, it's kind of weird to not want to help just because you don't want to deal with it, or you are dealing with it. You're the one bringing it in. I don't know.
yeah, and I mean, look at some of those movies they did based on those actual they also had their own experiences doing those movies.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely. I've watched things on the making of like The Exorcist and all the stuff that happened involving the crew, trying to get the movie made because obviously there's somebody that didn't want it to be made, and that just be, the devil. He doesn't want that type of attention. Like, I exist. Yeah, we know.
Yeah, he
We know
doesn't
you're real.
post.
Right. That's exactly right. It's like, it's like we understand completely that you're real, but you combat that you know, uh, with the light, and then
Mhm.
you have the troops, and those guys do their thing. But uh, we're just kind of like when we do what we do, we're sort of like the front lines to kind of getting exposure for it. Sometimes. um, we're like, okay, well, this is what we experienced, and well, there was a chair that went across the room or something, and that's something y'all probably need to go deal with. Just it's like
Right.
this family needs help, and I know you got to go through the right channels. It takes time. You got to do investigations, and they got to present it to the church, and the church got to okay it,
Yep.
you know, that kind of thing. But Um, again, that goes back to Ed and Lorraine. That's what they did, and they presented the evidence to, the church. And sometimes I would imagine the church reacted too late, and they did what they had to do,
Mhm.
or vice versa. They gave it to the church, and the church took care of it. However, but you're on the front lines of it. And again, we're any kind of psychiatrists or doctors or anything like that, but we don't know those kind of things. But we do know when things aren't right. So. Um, and again, like you were talking about earlier, is demonic stuff is very, very rare. So for the most part, you're just seeing spirits do their thing, or it may be grandma or grandpa visiting the little 3-year-old, and completely
Yep.
harmless stuff. I can see where it would still be scary and spooky. I get it, but If the spirit's there, you're experiencing activity for a week or two or something, and nothing crazy's happened, then nothing crazy's going to happen. Like it's just they're just there, man. They're just there. They're not going to hurt anybody. But um, Rosie does cleansings, so sometimes they go down that road and want her to do that, and that's fine. But there has been families that we've been to that don't want us to make the spirits leave that because they're completely harmless. You see them sometimes and stuff, yeah, but they're not going to do anything. They're not doing anything bad. They're just doing their thing, or it might be family, or something like just ancestors of your own that just checking in on you. You know.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's even like our first demonic case that we did that took 6 months to get it back to normal. They still have the former owner still pops in and waves to the
Mhm.
grandkids.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. It's not. I mean, I could see where sometimes that would be scary because okay, well that's a ghost. That's weird. But like you've been seeing this ghost for however long and it's done absolutely nothing to you, then it's not going to do anything to you.
Nope.
Um, it's just there, man, doing this thing. But the thing about it is like for the most part, they're ghosts are just people. They're just people, no big deal. But then you get to the other things where you're starting to deal with different kind of entities or uh, different kind of activity, things, lights going off and on or whatever. But depending on that's why we do investigations because investigations are meant to, um, uncover things and
Yep.
to uh, dive more into what's happening and maybe come up with explanations. And then sometimes it goes back to there is no ghost, there is no entity, it is just family. Like somebody in the family is doing something to cause whatever, like let's say poltergeist activity. You know, that
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean it's a spirit. It could be something that somebody's doing mentally, and it's just enough energy that they gave it, themselves that builds that up. And then it's the person and nothing crazy or scary. But
Yeah.
that can manifest that way. Yeah,
Especially teenagers with hormone changes. They're the
yeah.
perfect poltergeist act.
And that's absolutely true. And then anything we've dealt with in that situation has been teenagers. Um, that they focus that and that energy just goes into a big ball of something, and when it finally explodes as you're starting to get like stuff that would uh, mimic being some kind of uh, entity of something like closing the doors and making lights go off or whatever it is, but um, it just goes back to the person. And it really helps too that having Rosie because she's able to pick up if it was a spirit or not, and then that helps a lot. Like where she'd be like, "I'm not getting anything," and then you know after an investigation, that it's just determined that it's a person dealing with some issues that needs therapy or doctors or whatever. But it's not demonic or ghost or anything. So,
Yep. But we're gonna go ahead and get ready to wrap up here. If people want to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you to book you for events, paracons?
yeah, for sure. You can direct message me on through my Facebook. Go to my personal page and send me a DM or anything off TikTok. There's some great videos with some really cool, intriguing evidence on there that I'd really encourage people to check out. I sent you a video of us using the SLS with a RIM pod and stuff like that. That's one of my favorite videos of all time because it captures the spirit using two forms. We have two forms of evidence capturing spirit activity. So uh, in real time. So it's really cool. Um, we do. If anybody wants our investigations, we go live on our Facebook. That's how we do them, or TikTok, whichever one. But you're seeing exactly what we see when we see it in real time. So there's no faking or any of that stuff. It's whatever's happening, you're right there with us. So That's how we like to do it. We like to do it live. We don't like to make videos and go back and edit them and then post them. Um, there has been cases where we have posted a video later, but we don't doctor anything. So again, it's not Terry Collective. Um, that's the name of our team. I think like it. So again, same name on Facebook, TikTok, and you can find us there in messages. And if anybody wants to talk, we'll go from there.
All right. If you want to hang backstage for a minute, I'll close the show out, and I'll be right back with you in a minute.
All right, bye everybody.
Thanks everybody for tuning in tonight on a special Sunday night. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Um, Jason's a good guy here, so definitely check him out on Facebook, TikTok. Um, so with that being said, hope everybody has a good night. Remember, if you're being bullied in the paranormal field, you do have a voice. Feel free to reach out. We will listen. So everybody have a good night, and we will see you again next week. Remember, if you're out and about, come to Marshall, Missouri, and check us out at the Haunted House October 16th and 17th. Remember my little deal, if you can guess who I am as the character in it, you will guest host with me for a month. So, that being said, and then get your tickets to Scarefest for next weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They're almost sold out, so you can see Annabelle and the Warrens Cult Museum because this is it for the Devils on the Run tour. So, everybody have a good night, and we will see you all next Saturday, same time, same channel.